Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Natalia Moczulska, and this is the news. Polish President Andrzej Duda took part in the Common Future Ukraine Reconstruction Congress. He stressed that Polish business has a fundamental role to play in the reconstruction of Ukraine and reminded of Poland's support for Ukraine since the beginning of the war. Meanwhile, the Polish Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Robert Telus, said that Poland will not remove the embargo if the country does not work out an effective solution with Ukraine. Minister Telus also confirmed that he is scheduled to hold talks with his Ukrainian counterpart next week and hopes for a positive outcome of those talks. Poland has been a major logistics center and aid delivery channel since February 2022. An element of our support is also the presence of Polish companies. Despite the ongoing hostilities, Polish companies from the construction, renovation, or other industries are constantly conducting their activities on Ukrainian territory, and some of them are already planning to expand their activities and make new investments. Numerous Polish entrepreneurs, as well as local government officials working with Ukrainian partners, are well acquainted not only with the Ukrainian market, but also with current realities. The meeting in Poznań opens up new fields of activity for you. Geographical proximity and the knowledge accumulated by entrepreneurs who are well acquainted with Ukrainian regulations and realities are factors conducive to the development of your business. I see this as a great opportunity for the development of Polish business, both for large companies and for the small and medium-sized enterprise sector. The less war-affected oblasts in the west of Ukraine in particular are an interesting area as they sustain the country's economy to a great extent today and are looking for cooperation partners. They will also play a similar role in the first post-war period. In the longer term, business opportunities are likely to expand to areas now in and adjacent to the war zone, which will need reconstruction and normalization. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy said his trip to the United States has yielded significant results. U.S. President Joe Biden announced a new $325 million military aid package for Ukraine. The first Abrams tanks will arrive in Ukraine next week. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy met with President Joe Biden at the White House on Thursday, where Biden announced the new military aid package for Ukraine. The U.S. has sent some $113 billion in security and humanitarian aid to help Zelenskyy's government since Russia invaded in February of 2022. The new military aid package for Ukraine includes air defense systems and other weaponry to help Kyiv ahead of a tough winter. The package will also include the second tranche of cluster munitions fired by a 155mm howitzer cannon, according to a U.S. official. U.S. President Joe Biden, following a White House meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy, said on Thursday that Russia alone stands in the way of peace.
Russia alone stands in the way of peace. It could end this today. Instead, Russia is seeking more weapons from Iran and North Korea that would violate multiple UN Security Council resolutions that Moscow itself voted to put in place. And a new package of launchers and interceptors that's going to protect Ukraine's grain silos, hospitals, schools, and power plants. That will help save Ukrainian lives. Just as we're committed to helping Ukrainian people defend themselves now, we're also committed to helping them recover and rebuild for the future, including supporting reforms that are going to combat corruption, creating an environment where businesses can thrive and where American and European businesses want to invest.
So thank you very much, dear Mr. President Biden. Thank you for a warm meeting and very productive, strong negotiations. And today we have some important results. First, we agreed to work on the future force of Ukraine. It's very important, and it is a strategic decision that will allow us to prevent any new aggression against us, against Ukraine, our people. And this will be one of the outcomes of Vilnius G7 declaration and our bilateral security arrangements.
Biden assured Zelenskiy on Thursday that strong U.S. support for his war to repel Russian invaders will be maintained despite opposition from some Republican lawmakers to sending billions more in aid. Earlier today, workers at Apple stores in France began a nationwide strike over pay and working conditions in a protest designed to coincide with the launch of iPhone 15. It is the latest headache for the tech giant in France after it was forced to stop selling its iPhone 12 model earlier this month for above-threshold radiation. Apple disputes the findings of the French watchdog. About 30 staff were picketing outside the company's store in Opera in central Paris, one of 3 in the French capital, a few meters away from a line of about 40 customers waiting in the rain to enter the shop. What we were promised is not even up to inflation, so we think that our personal lives are impacted by all of this, and we would all like to be able to live from our work with dignity. We don't ask for extraordinary things, but we just want to live properly. The goal is not at all to block iPhone 15 sales. The goal is really to bring the spotlight on this situation, because we negotiated with Apple. There are 4 different unions in the company, and these 4 unions, with their differences, unite in saying to the company, no, we do not agree with the proposed increase. We know that we have the same problems in Spain, England, and the United States. They find it difficult to express themselves, so that's why there is a website called Apple Together, which supports us, which will share all our communication. It's an internal problem regarding the functioning of the stores, the issue of being able to climb up the ladder or being able to have a salary which allows you to live. Once again, there are some who are doing very well, but there are some who are having issues, and that is something that is global. All 4 Apple unions, which also plan to strike on Saturday, September 23rd, have asked for a 7% wage increase to compensate for inflation and an end to a months-long hiring freeze. Management did not want to offer more than a 4.5% hike, union officials said. Great Britain's King Charles III and his wife Queen Camilla's 3-day visit to France is coming to an end. It was the first state visit for a British monarch after he took the throne following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. After 2 days in Paris, today the royal couple greeted admirers and met with producers of local products in Bordeaux. The royal couple's visit to Paris is being watched closely by the British media. There was a spectacular welcome under the Arc de Triomphe and a banquet in honor of the royal couple at Versailles. King Charles spoke for the first time in the French Senate, partly even in French. The Queen Consort of the UK, Camilla, and the First Lady of France played ping-pong with each other. Brigitte Macron won decisively, while King Charles and the French president planted a friendship tree. All of this, according to the British media, is symbolic and softens some tensions, but has no measurable impact on the 2 countries' mutual relations, which have remained cold for years. The king is not a politician and cannot discuss difficult topics such as the Brexit effect or the migration crisis. However, he can talk about science, culture, art, or the need to protect the environment and sound the alarm about climate change. King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla concluded their trip with a visit to an organic winery, the first to adopt a sustainable approach to wine production. According to initial plans, the British monarch's visit to France was scheduled to take place in March before his coronation, but was postponed by the Élysée Palace due to pension protests and unrest in France. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But for me, it's have a wonderful weekend.